Well, a short while ago, I spoke to the Israeli ambassador to the United Kingdom, Tzipi Hotovely, as part of a long interview to be released tomorrow online. We started off reflecting, a month after the October 7th Hamas attack, on whether how she felt about it had changed at all.
We as Israelis, we didn't realize the scale of atrocities. And a month after, we understand that this is something that will change Israel forever. This is not another terror attack. This is not another chapter in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This is the fight of a democratic country versus barbarism.
What about people who say, who are sort of the Free Palestine movement, people who want a Palestinian state? Do you accept that they are a legitimate view, legitimate protests?
I would say that I'm also
peaceful and not a threat to...
Well, I also want to have a better future with the Palestinians. I support a better future between Israelis and Palestinians. The question is...
But you don't support a Palestinian state, do you?
But I think that this idea, this concept, has failed long time ago.
A Palestinian state is just a failed idea.
As you know,
yes.
That we had at least 5 times in history that the Palestinians were offered to have a state. They always refused. And I tell you why they refused, because they said, unless you give us the right of return, we're not willing to sign any agreement with Israel.
I think most people listening to this conversation will conclude that there is no prospect of Israel even looking at self-determination for the Palestinian people now.
I think this is not my duty. My duty is to protect my people as the state of Israel. And at the moment, the facts on the ground are that the 7th of October was a watershed moment, that Israel understood it cannot protect its people because the terror organization is there.
Let's talk about the war and the way it's being prosecuted.
Yes.
1,400 people were killed on October the 7th.
And 241
maybe
still kept
7,000
hostage.
people injured. And over 200 people kept hostage.
First of all, every loss of life is a tragedy. There is no question.
Do you mean that, or is that a political answer?
No. I totally mean that. I don't think that that anyone wanted the 7th of October attack. We didn't start that. They started that. Israel is targeting only military targets. If you would have seen the Gaza map, you would have seen lots of blocks of red spots that have launching areas, which means that these places has become military targets.
Right now, Israeli bombs are blowing up Palestinian civilians.
After the Palestinians were given the opportunity to move to the south area of Gaza, opportunity was not given to the children of Sderot, Kfar Aza.
Many of them have been killed after they've moved as well, and we've seen evidence of that. So
I think the majority of them been prevented by Hamas.
So there are plenty of people being killed in circumstances which we'll never get to the truth of, is the truth, because we will never get independent investigators in while this is going on.
Christian, I'll tell you, I'll make it simple to you. This is a democratic country fighting according to the international law. We saw yesterday.
No, only in your own terms. You cannot say that as a statement.
I'll give you yesterday's visual. Yesterday's visual, it was screened in every television in the world, so you cannot deny that. You could see Israeli tank giving a support and escort of security to Palestinians moving to the south. This is something that Hamas is not doing for them and Israel is doing for them.
Let me ask you about the pressure that you're coming under from the international community. So America wants you to have some sort of humanitarian pause. Many of the regional partners want that. Is that a possibility?
So we are willing to give, as you know, as much humanitarian aid as needed when it comes to water, food and medicine, which we think is important and essential. But we definitely think that in order to do that, it's enough to have those pauses that bring trucks of equipment to the Gaza Strip. We don't need ceasefire that will play only to the hands of Hamas.
So just to understand what that means, you're talking about a few hours in which humanitarian convoys can go in. You're not talking about...
Humanitarian aid keeps on coming.
You're not talking about a 3-day humanitarian pause,
will be a ceasefire,
for example, which would be a ceasefire. That's what people are talking about today.
It's not going to be helpful. And I think the Prime Minister said it yesterday clearly, that in order to have humanitarian break or something that is more than a few hours, you need to have all our hostages back. And I was
all of the hostages, because the other offer, as you know, that is being floated is a number of hostages in return for a ceasefire.
We're not going to let Hamas do this psychological terror warfare.
You don't think a peace can be built on a pause that becomes a ceasefire that becomes a peace? You don't believe in that?
No peace 6th of October was a ceasefire.
Give me a timeline for when you think this is going to be.
I think it's going to take more than a few weeks. So it's going to be long few weeks, at least.
So you think, but we're talking weeks rather than months or years.
I don't know.
You think within weeks Hamas can be destroyed?
The truth is, I don't know. And the thing is that if you ask the military people, they are saying, on the D-Day, you didn't know how long it's going to take to defeat Nazi Germany. So I think it's not on the same scale for sure. But we're just in the middle of a process when you still have so much infrastructure in the Gaza Strip to be dismantled. So it's going to take time.
Ambassador, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you. Hoping for more peaceful days.